Big news out of the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of the United States of America just issued a rare statement on President Trump's call to impeach the judge in his Alien Enemies Act case. I want to go straight to Paula Reed. Paula, wow, this is a very big deal.
This is a huge deal. Here you have Chief Justice John Roberts appearing to push back on statements President Trump made earlier today, suggesting that a judge, James Boasberg, who of course temporarily blocked deportations by the Trump administration, or at least tried to, should be impeached.
Well, there you have it. Earlier today, Donald Trump had a total public meltdown, lashing out at a federal judge on Truth Social, declaring that he should be impeached for daring to resist or rule against Trump. And actually, Republicans are already offering articles of impeachment. It's so bad that the Chief Justice of the United States, the most senior judge of the United States, a conservative, the head of the conservative Supreme Court supermajority, is now publicly rebuking Trump, saying, man, you need to chill out. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, I want you to think about this. Do you know how bad Trump has to behave to get called out by the man who literally wrote the immunity decision? The man who put pen to paper and gave Donald Trump sweeping, unprecedented presidential immunity, a get-out-of-jail-free card. When he has to tell you to chill out, you know you've crossed a line. So what's the context for this? Well, here you go. Trump attacked Judge James Boasberg, who ordered the Trump administration to cease deporting migrants under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 over the weekend, while he reviews the legality of such action in an angry Tuesday morning tirade on Truth Social. This is according to Mediaite. At issue is Trump's recent invocation of the Wartime Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target violent, illegal immigrant street gangs, which the judge blocked on Saturday. Deportation flights already in progress landed in El Salvador despite the order, raising various constitutional issues, as well as some critics of the administration to accuse it of ignoring Boasberg. Border czar Tom Homan bragged to Fox and Friends Monday about not caring what judges decide, signaling that the administration may flout decisions made by the judicial branch. And we did a couple of videos about this, all right? This is a stunning violation of court order and in disregard of the judiciary. Here's what Trump said on Truth Social. The radical left lunatic of a judge, a troublemaker and agitator who was sadly appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, was not elected president. He didn't win the popular vote by a lot, which Trump didn't. He didn't win all 7 swing states. He didn't win 2,750 to 525 counties. He didn't win anything. I won for many reasons in an overwhelming mandate, but fighting illegal immigration may have been the #1 reason for this historic victory. I'm just doing what the voters wanted me to do. This judge, like many of the crooked judges I'm forced to appear before, should be impeached. We don't want vicious, violent, and demented criminals, many of them deranged murderers, in our country. Make America great again. That was the unhinged creed. And I should point out that at least 4 elected Republicans are preparing articles of impeachment against this judge and others. Okay? And in response to this, Mediaite reports, Chief Justice John Roberts issues rare statement rejecting Trump's call to impeach judge who halted deportations. Supreme Court Justice John Roberts issued a rare statement rejecting Donald Trump's call to impeach federal judge James Boasberg, who temporarily ordered the Trump administration to cease deporting migrants under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Here's the Chief Justice's statement via Politico's Kyle Cheney. Quote, for more than 2 centuries, it's been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose. And again, already a member of Congress, Brandon Gill of Texas. This dude's an unhinged lunatic. I mean, he is on par with Marjorie Taylor Greene. He's a freshman Republican in the House. Has introduced articles of impeachment against Judge Boasberg, alleging that the judge has, quote, abused the powers of his judicial authority by ruling in a way that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans simply don't like. Again, stunning stuff all the way around. So we're going to play a bit more analysis here from CNN. Because, again, this is it's pretty stunning stuff.
Chalian.
It's astonishing. And I don't want to diminish the importance of the specific case that
but this
Paul
is about that.
It is, obviously, but it's so much bigger than that, too.
Yeah.
This is, I just want to step back here, because there are so many people, I think, that said in the last couple days of, well, are we in a constitutional crisis or not? And if are they really defying an order? Or let's parse whether it was a written order or a verbal order. It's too early. It's too soon to get worked up about this or concerned about this. And John Roberts, who does not choose to jump into the political fray at all if he doesn't have to, says, no, it's not too soon. I am the guy that sits atop one of the three co-equal branches as designed by the Constitution, and it's not too soon for me to say, back off, Mr. President. You should not be talking about impeaching a district judge, a district level judge, because you don't like the ruling. That's not the way the last 2 centuries have worked. And so I think, he doesn't get involved very often. The fact that he's chosen to step in here, you see he's responding to what Trump put in that Truth Social this morning.
Right, which I'll get to in a second.
But also just the aggressiveness to push back on Trump this way, choosing to speak and speaking the way he did in this statement, we should all take note of this moment.
Okay, I'm not sure if we have it yet.
So let's talk about this moment, okay? If you follow this channel, you know I have very complicated feelings towards the federal judiciary and the Supreme Court. So just, again, to unpack, just in case this is your first time watching, we have 3 coordinate branches, not 3 co-equal branches. The word co-equal cannot be found in the Constitution. As a matter of fact, the framers very clearly intended for Congress, the legislature, to be the, quote, necessarily predominant branch. That's the language that they used in the Federalist Papers to describe the relationship. Think about it. Congress is the only branch which can create law and modify the Constitution, right? It's supposed to be the final hand on top. And believe it or not, the judiciary, including the Supreme Court, was actually meant to be the weakest of the 3 branches, even weaker than the president. It's supposed to go Congress, the president, judiciary. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that the judiciary should be totally impotent or effortlessly overruled by the president or even Congress, but we don't have 3 co-equal branches. And part of my frustration with the judiciary as a whole is because it's unelected and unaccountable. And again, we've talked about this, but my positions are principled. I don't care if it's a liberal judge or a conservative judge. I think that there should be efforts to rein in the Supreme Court and the judiciary as a whole, binding codes of conduct, binding ethics, mechanisms for investigation. So if an ethics violation has been committed or alleged to have been committed, we should be able to do that. I think judges should be held to the highest possible standard because they wield enormous power and they're the least accountable. So they should basically be, I think we should expect more from judges than we do any elected official, including the president. If you're going to have that kind of power and that lack of accountability, you basically need to be perfect. So I do have beef with the Supreme Court. But what you're seeing here is not backlash towards the notion of unelected rogue judges. They love the Supreme Court in its current conception. MAGA and Trump love a 6-3 conservative supermajority. They just don't like it when they occasionally get rulings that don't favor them. Then they, oh my God, judges aren't elected. Judges shouldn't be able to tell Congress or the president what to do. Oh, now you're concerned about this. They're not principled at all. Donald Trump's concerns are not principled. As a matter of fact, just a few days ago, he said it should be illegal for a specific judge, Aileen Cannon, whom he appointed and who ruled repeatedly in his favor throughout the quote-unquote classified documents case. He says it should be illegal to criticize her. And here he is not only criticizing another federal judge, but calling for that judge's impeachment. And his flunkies in Congress are apparently lining up to impeach that particular judge because they don't like the ruling. And you hear this now in the past couple of days. I can't believe a district judge can issue a nationwide injunction on something the president wants to do, except that's exactly what we saw under the Biden administration from conservative judges. Matthew Kacsmaryk, a Trump-appointed judge out of Amarillo, Texas. This is the guy who basically put a nationwide injunction on the sale of mifepristone, right? The abortion drug. So they love it when their pet judges can issue sweeping blanket rulings, and the president, as long as it's a Democrat, should obey. But if a quote-unquote liberal judge does something that a conservative Republican president doesn't like, well, that's not fair. So it's bullshit. You are not obligated to take any of their criticisms or any of their bitching at face value. You have none. You have every reason to be suspicious and to mock them for their hypocrisy. Because that's what it is. So I will note, again, that despite the fact that John Roberts is a conservative who has repeatedly ruled in Trump's favor, and again, gave Donald Trump the ultimate un-American blessing of presidential immunity, even he feels that Trump has gone too far. I should also note that does not mean that Roberts won't, if this makes its way to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court grants certiorari where they review it, that he won't rule in Trump's favor. That's still very possible. But it does prove that Donald Trump's conduct is so indecorous, so authoritarian, so untoward, that even this ideologically sympathetic judge, the highest judge in the land, Chief Justice John Roberts, went out of his way to issue a rare, pointed public rebuke of Donald Trump. And that should mean something to principled conservatives if they exist anymore in this Republican Party. Unfortunately, I think they are very few and far between. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.